Hello everyone and welcome to Entrepreneurship. Today we are looking at the exciting topic of international options. Up to now we've mainly focused on setting up an entity in the UK, United Kingdom. We've seen the structure of the limited company, which we've explored in another video. And today we're going to broaden that quite a bit and look at the extensive opportunities that exist internationally. We live in a highly connected world and the opportunities that we have as software engineers are huge and very distributed, and in many cases it will make sense to consider starting an international operation right from the outset, particularly if you have connections with countries other than the United Kingdom, and particularly if you're from another country or you have those family ties to another region of the world. Often you can use those connections and your skills and bring those together to create something that's unique and basically make the fact that you have that connection with another country your superpower, and we're going to look at some examples as well. It's one of the most exciting parts of the course. For me, I've loved international business. I've lived in the EU, I've lived in China, I've lived in the US, and in each jurisdiction I've been able to form a business, and there's been various advantages to that. Sometimes there's been challenges as well, and I'll try to touch on those too. But in the main, it's created opportunities for us as a family, and you might like to consider a similar journey yourself. So today's lecture, we're going to look at international company formation in different regions of the world. Just by its nature, we're going to kind of do a quick survey. We're not going to do a deep dive into any particular region, but we're going to highlight the main areas of the globe where there's a certain need or an opportunity that I see, and particularly the main blocks of the European Union, the USA, China, India and Southeast Asia as another entity, group of countries, and also opportunities that exist on the African continent. And something that's arisen since the pandemic is the opportunity in the Caribbean as well, which I'll also touch on. So globalization has given rise to multiple options for Bath graduates to take advantage of. And as I say, if you have a connection with another country, this can be your superpower, because it's never been easier to move to a new country or to form an international venture online or to find and connect with potential partners, for example, distributors internationally. And I think this gives rise to some unique opportunities for you as a Bath graduate, as a Bath student, to explore. So firstly, the rise of digital nomadcy. Digital nomads, this appeared shortly before the pandemic. There is a blog that's internationally known called Nomad Girl, and that lists a list of opportunities for you to move to a certain country and gives you all the options on how to form a company in that country, how to get a visa to move to that country, and how to run a business in that part of the world. So if I just flip to that website, you can see here, Nomad Girl, lots of different tips, lots of advice, lots of articles about the 58 countries with digital nomad visas. It's kind of the ultimate list. And first of all, a definition of that. So it's a temporary residency permit allowing a visitor to stay in a country, work remotely, via a computer or laptop. So a lot of the work that we do in the knowledge economy is remote and of this type. So it kind of lends itself to one or two person companies being spun up in locations where they might be preferable to your current location. And typically they have a duration of 12 months. You can extend that depending on the country issuing the visa. They're not for everybody by any means, but they give you a great option to be a digital nomad and to set something up in a different country, and also to experience the life and culture of a country maybe that you haven't lived in before. And the reason these came up was because during COVID-19, obviously tourism dropped, and as a response to tourism, lots of governments wanted to invite knowledge workers to work from their locations, bringing in revenue, paying business taxes, that kind of thing, creating jobs. And so they created these visas, which would enable people to do exactly that. You can also see lots of references to homeschooling, online schooling, much more socially acceptable since the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is a good option for families as well. And there are many, many instances you can read online of people who decided to go this option just to take time off and go and experience the world, travel the world, build a business on the way, take your family with you. And there's lots of different advantages. Those could be obviously mainly lifestyle, but also the tax jurisdiction that you choose could be more advantageous than, say, the UK. Or the opportunities for healthcare, social costs, realizing a long-term ambition or dream. Lots of countries would welcome you, particularly as a creator or as a entrepreneur or as a computer science graduate, and ability in programming, ability in digital skills to come and take advantage of this opportunity. And I won't go through all the countries, but they range from countries such as Georgia in Europe to Caribbean countries to Portugal. It's very well known for digital nomad visa scheme. Even some of these schemes lead to citizenship. Cyprus is another one that I'll talk about shortly. But literally there are global opportunities with this kind of idea to go and get a digital nomad visa. So that's increased their profile. Many nations want to attract digital nomads. Some, as I say, offer paths to permanent residency or citizenship. The idea essentially is to take that work from home, that WFH culture, and change it to work from anywhere. Okay, so it's giving you kind of maximum freedom in your working opportunity, what we might call WFA, or work from anywhere. So that's the case study. Looking at the EU first, 27 countries, huge market, almost twice the size of the US market if you counted the whole of the EU, plus a few other countries that are connected closely to the EU, such as Norway, Iceland, even Turkey, the UK as well, Switzerland. The UK plus those countries together, it represents a market that's twice the size of the US even. So it's almost the world's biggest market, and lots of advantages to creating an entity in the EU. Because an EU entity in one country is automatically recognized in all other EU countries. What that means is you could incorporate a company in Greece and trade across the EU with Germany or France or Spain, for example, or Ireland, without any taxation issues. You can register a VAT number. That EU VAT number applies to the whole of the EU. And because of that tax harmonization that exists, and the single currency as well, if you picked a country in the single market and in the single currency, in the euro, then you can easily trade with other EU countries, and you have access to that market. If you pick a country like in the Schengen agreement, like Germany or France or Holland, then also when you start up a country in one of those jurisdictions, you will have a Schengen visa, Schengen work rights, and you can travel across that Schengen boundary. And in most instances, you can also work in other Schengen countries as well. You could consider high-tech countries like Germany, where there's a huge need. So Germany at the moment needs 500,000 workers in the knowledge industries and in tech. So they have just made it super easy for startups, for foreigners to come in and start their own enterprises, also offering a path to Schengen residency and citizenship eventually. That could be a great option for many. Plenty of work, plenty of opportunity. It's a high-tech economy, great healthcare, lots of benefits being and working in Central Europe, in the world's largest economy, in Europe's largest economy and Europe's most high-tech economy as well. Or you could consider the opposite end of the EU, maybe economically, but go for more of a lifestyle option. And I would point you to somewhere like Cyprus, which again has the ability to trade across the EU boundaries. It's an EU country on the edge of Europe, but an entity created in Cyprus, which is based on the UK limited system, so lots of similarities with the British system and the Cypriot system, again, would give you the ability to build a company which can trade Europe-wide. And you might be interested to know the website Fiverr, Fiverr.com, where there's that marketplace for skills. that freelance marketplace, that, for example, is incorporated and headquartered in Cyprus, and again can trade freely across the EU. So that's a great option. And then there's countries like Switzerland, where you have the ability to easily trade with the EU. It's surrounded by EU countries, plus Liechtenstein, and again, highly connected, creating a technological company in Switzerland, great low tax option as well. Also path to residency, but also if you're working in medical technology or finance, then Zurich is a great center for business. I even know somebody who strategically located in the city of Basel on the northwestern corner of Switzerland, just next to the border with France and Germany. They did that partly for lifestyle. So, for example, there's a point where three countries meet in Basel, so France, Germany, and Switzerland all meet. They incorporated one company in each of the countries that are literally a mile apart from each other, but then suddenly they had a French office, a Germany office, and a Swiss office. They could cover all of those territories, and yet physically they were 1 mile away from each other. And Basel's a great location to do just that, plus there's the lifestyle, right? You can have you could have breakfast in France, you could have lunch in Germany, and dinner in Switzerland. And for some, that is amazing. In fact, I find that idea myself pretty awesome. So again, basing yourself somewhere like Basel, heart of Europe, highly connected, great place to meet people, great contacts, great place to build a multinational business at low cost, enabling you to scale. That is just an awesome opportunity. In Germany and Switzerland, you can get going relatively quickly, relatively easily, for about €3,000 investment to create what's called a mini GmbH. So GmbH is Gesellschaft mit beschränkter Haftung, which is the limited equivalent of a limited company. Historically, it's been quite onerous and burdensome to create a GmbH. Now they've lowered the barrier considerably, and you can get started with a mini GmbH for 3,000. And then as your business grows, you can transition to a full GmbH. So there's even a pathway for low cash startups or startups with low investment at the beginning, just to bootstrap and to get yourself going, which is awesome. And the structure of a limited, in somewhere like Cyprus, you can get going even for €1,000 as well. So EU is just a great market, great place to do business. If you're working in AI, you might have heard that there's more regulation around AI than there is, say, in the US or China, and that's probably true. I would imagine those regulatory barriers are going to come down as EU countries recognize the need for innovation at speed. I think that's going to happen. Don't quote me on it. It's just a personal opinion. But there might be more opportunities for AI businesses in the EU than in other parts of the world, as I can see them trying to play a little bit of catch up with the great AI powers of the US and China in the next year or two. So just to confirm what I've just said there, Germany, a huge market. Because of the fact that any EU business is a legal entity recognized in all other EU countries, you've got that tax harmonization. The GmbH originally took that 25k initial capital, but starting a GmbH with that capital, if you're able to, gives you that immediate reputation. So it's the largest and most stable economy in Western Europe. A great location, for example, in Munich for functional safety or software. Tech startup hub in Berlin is also very impressive. And there's a lot of support for remote running of the company with local accountancy support. That tends to be what you need. So there's, for example, a company called Regus.com. There's a set of virtual offices that you can hot desk. And once you have a Regus pass, you can kind of go into any office and use facilities, prints, email, fax, and it's like a hub you can go into. There is one, for example, at Munich Airport that you can incorporate a company in Germany for. Very convenient. As soon as you're in the airport, you're in the Regus office, and that's where you could organize meetings. That's a great way to work if you want to do a tech startup in the EU, for example. Then one of my favorites, I grew up on Cyprus, spent 9 wonderful years there. So I can highly recommend Cyprus as a great choice, mainly if you're interested in building a business for lifestyle, for that digital nomadacy. As I say, routes to citizenship, EU passports, visa-free access to Schengen, excellent internet, business services. English is very widely spoken. You'll find that's true in Germany as well. They're happy to speak in English. It's often a bilingual environment that you work in cities like Munich and Berlin. with low taxation here in Cyprus as well. Plus, it's sunny, and that makes a big difference, right? We do our best work when it's sunny, I think, and so that might be a good reason to get out of the rainy conditions, the wind and the snow and the cold of the United Kingdom, and head for warmer climates. So that might be an option that you might want to think about. How about, let's cross the Atlantic now, let's go to the United States, which in many cases is entrepreneurship heaven. It's the dreamland, world's largest market, world's largest economy. It has the highest concentration of tech talent in the world. It's absolutely outstanding for AI, machine learning opportunities. Awesome for startup culture as well. It's very easy to get started with a US company. Some Bath graduates from this course have actually gone on to create S Corp and C Corps using LegalZoom. So LegalZoom is an online platform. You can create a company online through that platform, even being based outside the US. And you can be, I think from memory, you can start up a company within a couple of hours using LegalZoom if you have all the right details and you're ready to go. So you can be up in minutes, in days, and creating a website, creating the bank account, all of that you can do remotely. And they even verify you online. So there's a notary that LegalZoom use, and that first notary, checks your passport, checks your ID, does everything online to validate the beneficial ownership forms, that kind of thing. So that's a great option. What does that enable you? Well, America loves entrepreneurs, generally welcomes foreign talent to bring in jobs, to create jobs in the United States. And therefore, there are some visas that you might be interested in looking at. The E2 visa, which I've held in the past myself, requires an investment into the US, and bringing that investment in, using it to create a job or to pay a salary for a US citizen is the typical way that they will award a visa. Based on your business plan and an intention to scale and build a company in the US. There's an EB1 visa for extraordinary talent. So if you're more on the research academic side, developing algorithms in AI, ML for healthcare or industry or finance, you might want to look at the EB1 visa, which has route to green card and also permanent residency in the US. Or the L visa, set up a company in England, work for that for at least a year, and then you can set up a parallel company of the same name in the US and transfer to that US operation after a year. Or there's the H1B visa as well, which is often associated with tech talent. That's a popular visa to go to the US too and to work. And again, world's largest market, if you didn't count all of the European countries together, ranging from the East Coast, concentrations, cities like Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, DC. You've got that whole East Coast region. This is a great economic powerhouse. Plus you've got the West Coast, states like California, Seattle, in Washington state, and just amazing opportunities there as well. Also, the lifestyle option might be there too, with places like Puerto Rico in the Caribbean, which is a US dependency, or Hawaii is a great place to locate to. And there are many, many states where they're trying to get more investment. So lots of rural states. I'm thinking of the Dakotas. I'm thinking of Iowa, Indiana. Those states often welcome foreigners to bring in investment and also create opportunities to reinvigorate or re-stimulate the economies of cities that have maybe fallen economically into some disrepair. And so they will welcome entrepreneurship ideas, new people coming in with new talent to build something. You'll often find entrepreneurs very welcome all around the world. And traditionally, the US has been a great destination for entrepreneurs to build something. Company creation is very straightforward. There are these incorporation agents. It does give you access, or can give you access, to Canada and Mexico markets too. As I say, with the different visa options, you've got routes to citizenship and green cards, access to all the states plus the territories, and creating what's called a Delaware company, Delaware C Corp, is a recognized route for investment. So if you turn up at a fundraising, an investor group meeting in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, and you've got a Delaware C Corp in your pocket, that's kind of a recognized vehicle for investment, for serious investment, for acquisitions, for people who want to take over your idea or invest heavily into your new company, for company sale or acquisition. That's the perfect vehicle to do that, to create a Delaware company. Let's turn to the other side of the world now, to China. I lived in Beijing for 3 years and was privileged to be involved in a few startups over there. The wholly owned foreign enterprise, or the so-called WOFE. So WOFE is a great word. It's you, if you're a non-Chinese citizen and you want to create a business in China and trade with China, which is 1.5 billion people. It's the world's largest, most populous market. So if you have a product that's going to sell to a lot of people, there's no better place to do that than China. And WOFE enables you to create that, to legally trade in China and also to get a visa for yourself. That's one option. The other option is to find a local Chinese partner and to create what we call a joint venture that's half Chinese owned and half foreign owned. Lots of automotive companies went down this route. For example, BMW China is a joint venture, Siemens China, Continental China. There are joint ventures between their parent companies in Europe and the Chinese, local Chinese automobile companies. As I say, access to the world's most populous market, also a world leader in AI and ML research, particularly in healthcare, I would say. So other systems have fragmented data pools. So for example, in the UK and US, you have this fragmented healthcare market that's in private hands largely, and it's not an integrated system. As far as I understand, Chinese healthcare system is all integrated, so you can easily train models on 1.3 billion people's worth of data because everything is kind of centrally managed in that kind of sort of command economy rather than a free economy. And so there is an opportunity to go faster maybe in AI healthcare. Don't take my word for this, it's just opinion, some of this, but there are some opportunities that I'm hearing about in healthcare and training ML models on brain cancer detection. Some of our researchers here at Bath are actually doing that with a China connection. So if this is something of interest, do come and talk to Baggy and me, and we can point you in the right direction. And you can help the medical space, help people, because if you're helping people in China, you're helping people worldwide with medical issues, and there's the opportunity there to create a startup in the world's largest market. And from personal experience, we had a wonderful time in China, myself, my family. Great experience, very different to anything we'd lived through before. And it's a different way of working in business as well. There's lots of cultural differences, more emphasis on relationship, which you have to build over time than perhaps in Western companies. And so there's that just great opportunity. If you're a people person and you love hospitality, then this might be for you. This option may be for you to make a difference with your skills. Then there's India. India is a huge market, it's often untapped. We have had entrepreneurship students in past years. I'm thinking of Ravi and Raj particularly, who left this course and decided to do a startup in India. And in Ravi's case, 500 people now work for his company. He scaled it extremely quickly. He spoke as an alumni 2 years ago on this course, and very inspiring story. He kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship accidentally, he said, but then applied all his skills and built up an amazing startup. It's a growing economy, skilled workforce, vast population again. It's kind of getting to the level of China, I believe, in terms of the number of people in the market. And the Indian government has also taken lots of steps recently to simplify the process of setting up a foreign-owned company. And I've put a link in the slides so you can see more details about that. Here in Bath, we have the QA Systems company which produced the Cantata tool. They have just recently acquired an Indian company called Tech Trust after working with them together for many years. We can put you in touch with QA Systems to learn more about that journey if this was a journey that you wanted to take, and explore, for example, business opportunities between higher cost economies like the UK and US and slightly lower cost economies like India. then there's a huge opportunity there. Of course, Baggy can also assist with connections to India and give you some advice about different regions of India and which ones might be the best place to incorporate a new business. So don't hesitate to come back to either of us if you're interested in exploring this opportunity. It's an emerging high-tech region. And if we looked further east, we can also see in Southeast Asia enormous growth in technology and high growth markets. Southeast Asia has what we call the traditional tiger economies. I'm thinking Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand. Those economies growing very rapidly. They've lowered the entry bars, and it's often easier to establish a presence there than, say, in China and the US, which are more difficult to get visas. There's a lower cost of living, lower barriers to entry because they really want to encourage that growth, and could be a great option for you as well to build talent, build a company in one of these high-tech, high-growth emerging regions as well. So I'm going to put all that out there. And then Africa, huge opportunities to grow. This is one of the most underdeveloped regions of the world. Many African countries have strong ties with the UK and similar company formation and structure. I'm thinking countries like Ghana, which has an almost identical company's organizational system, and creating a company there is very similar. Growing tech talent as well in many African hubs, similar time zones to Europe, and again, many countries in Africa offering global talent or entrepreneurship visas. Many people I know who have moved to an African country combine entrepreneurship with mission activity or humanitarian activity, and again, there's so many opportunities to do that. And to really make a difference with the business that you're creating, and spending your life in a very worthwhile way. Then I would say this is the ultimate lifestyle option. The Caribbean, lots and lots of countries in the Caribbean. I've just put a map here, ranging from the Cayman Islands, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Anguilla. Some of these have links with the UK. UK has some territories there. For example, the Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, part of the UK as well. Any fans of Death in Paradise? Well, Saint-Marie, the fictional island, is actually Guadeloupe. That's part of France. That's shown on the right-hand side of this map. There are also many independent countries in the Caribbean. So, for example, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, all independent. And they, during the pandemic, they were exactly the countries that offered the global visas, the global nomad visas. And this has a lot of advantages. Maybe some of you want to go or work on the US market but can't for any reason, because of the visa restrictions or whatever. I do know some entrepreneurs who have set up in the Caribbean. It's on the same time zone as the East Coast of America, so it enables you to work very easily to organize meetings on the EST time zone, for example. And again, beautiful location as well, more of a lifestyle choice, but maybe a tax benefit to creating a company in this region. And there's various paths to citizenship. Countries like Turks and Caicos, which is it's a UK overseas territory, you can actually move there and create something and file paperwork. And as I say, good for EST time zone work as well. And in this remote, knowledge-based economy, that might be something that you want to think about. Or back home here in the UK, the English Limited, as we saw in a previous lecture, is one of the easiest companies to create, and very few citizenship requirements for company directors. The entrepreneurship visa, the global talent visa, is also available, and several of our graduates have taken that option to get an entrepreneurship visa, including some in the dev squad, in the computer science dev squad. So again, if you're interested in this option, come and talk to us and we'll point you to the right people to help with getting the visa, the kind of things that you need to think about to get that global talent visa. It's extremely tax efficient, especially if you're a married couple. Owning your own limited as a married couple is a recognized tax efficiency. Again, talk to us about that if you want more details. The benefit of the UK Limited is it's internationally recognised. You can trade globally from a UK Limited company without any difficulties. And then what you could do is, once you've created that company, create a multi-currency account with euros, British pounds and dollars. And you can do that now online with somebody like Revolut or Wise. They're the leading experts. That enables you to receive payments from customers in your major markets. And partnering with a good accountant will help you as you grow. And Bath University Computer Science Department, we have relationships with several accountancy companies, including Moore Stephens in Bath, including Watson Buckle in the north of England. And they do special rates for Bath graduates. Again, talk to us there, and you can take advantage of those lower rates to enable you to get a fast start and to get going with your business much more quickly. So those are some other considerations as you build and think internationally. The process, as we looked at last time, of creating a limited, choosing a name, checking the company's house register, thinking about what domain you want to host your website on, like a .io, a .ai, .com or .co.uk, or multiple versions of those domains. You need also to consider IP and patent strategy, your go-to-market strategy. Is your long-term plan with your business, is it to build it, then sell it, as James Courtney recently did with Lux Rewards, or is it more to support a lifestyle for you and your family? Involve accountants, mentors. We'd be more than happy to act as your mentors after this course. So your relationship with us hopefully will last longer than just this course. We're here for you as you take your lifelong steps towards entrepreneurship. And as I say, there's a separate lecture on creating a limited company in this course that we can point you to if you haven't already seen it. So there we go. It's a sea of opportunity. So many opportunities. I haven't even talked about franchising. Let me just finish on that thought. But basically the idea is, if you go to any successful business in Bath or anywhere else, and you talk to that owner and say, hey, you've done a great job in building this business here. I want to come along now and help you to build another branch of your business somewhere else. Most business owners will bite your hand off, right? Because it gives them an opportunity to grow their brand. It harnesses your energy, fresh legs, fresh thinking that they're bringing into the business, and it enables their business to scale. And I've known this happen many times from candle business owners in Bath who a student has gone up to and said, yeah, I'll create a version of your company already somewhere else. And they go and do that internationally. And everybody wins, because you start a new business, but you have that covering of a franchise brand and franchise owner. They've done a lot of the work to establish that brand. It has reputation, the website's taken care of. You can then take that brand and then go forward with it. So you have that autonomy to build your own business, but also you end up part of a family, helping to and being connected with other franchisees of that franchise. So that is just a really great option as well. Instead of starting something brand new, look for franchise opportunities and just start having conversations with business owners. There are also many websites where you can see available franchises or businesses to buy in different locations, ranging from Massachusetts to California to the Indian subcontinent to China to the EU. Pretty much everywhere there are always people who are looking to buy or sell a business, and often you just coming in as a fresh investor, as with your energy, with your recent skills. Often people are retiring out and they're looking to hand over their business to someone else. Those opportunities are very wonderful, and you can also buy. Previously we don't think about buying businesses because we think, well, we might not have the capital. But often you can do what we call a leveraged buyout, and you can buy out a business over 3 or 5 years, paying from the profits of the business month to month back to the owner over time. And so over time you basically buy the business. That's called a leveraged buyout. That's also a great option for many people in your stage of life as just starting out. And again, talk to us if that opportunity grabs you, because there are literally so many of those opportunities. Plus the well-established franchise companies as well that you can go to. That's what we did with Amenda. We created a parent, we created lots of different subsidiaries, and franchise owners from Switzerland, US, China could then benefit from the brand, benefit from the contracts that were set with the software suppliers, and then use that to build and keep building the brand. And it works a treat. So I hope this lecture has inspired you. I hope it's given you, I hope it's opened your mind to the possibilities of not just being a UK-based company. It takes just as much effort sometimes to plant an international business and grow a business with multiple branches globally. It takes just as much effort to do that as it does to plant a single company in a single location. Do consider those amazing locations like Basel, where you could spin up a company in 3 countries within a mile of each other. There are other locations like that as well. And carefully consider what kind of business you want to build for yourself, for your family, and for your future generations. So I hope that helps. I hope, as I say, you found this lecture and these options inspiring. Baggy and I are really looking forward to hearing the dreams that are on your heart in this area. So do come and talk to us. Do post on Moodle your thoughts, your reactions, some of the options that you come across that maybe you don't take up, but could be interesting to other teammates or other people on the course. And we're excited. Let's see what we can build together. So thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.